Hi everyone, it's Natalia, and I am here to make some pride nails for a friend of mine, and I'm using my airbrush, which does do me a frighten, as I am really bad at it. But the only way to get better at things is to keep doing them. I'm also going to try to use a little mag gel. Not sure if I'm going to use this one or not. We shall see, but this one's a nice holographic one, so I'm going to try. And then I've got some little mixed MIDI rhinestones I'm going to put on them. And I got little silver caviar beads that I keep in these little tea containers because they're very useful. Um, yeah, I'm trying. My friend really wanted a set of nails for Pride, and I would like to make some. So we're going to make some rainbow nails with the airbrush. Hopefully, everything goes okay. I've got my rainbow paint here, and I'm ready to try airbrushing again. Let's go. So I'm using the soft gel XII square, and I'm also going to be using the Born Pretty Pure White. I'm just doing a white base so that basically the airbrush colors will really pop against a white background, I'm hoping. This is my theory. So I'm just doing a single coat of the white. I've pre-buffed all the nails, pre-filed them, all the usual, same thing you do every time. And then we're going to stick these in to cure once they've all got a nice white base coat. And before we get on with the airbrushing, I'm going to take some 99% alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, and rub any inhibition layer off the nail. So any of that tacky layer that gets left over by gel. So you want to wipe that off just so that you're giving the airbrush paint the best possible sticking power. And now the dreaded airbrush. I'm going to try to go in rainbow color, which will make sense because I want to do sort of like an ombre over the entire hand using all the colors of the rainbow. So I've got everything all set out from red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. And then we're going to start with red. So I'm shaking it up real well. I don't use, I've seen some people mix gel and such in their airbrush, but I prefer using airbrush paint just for, I don't like the idea of just aerosolized gel and acetone in my house. I don't know. That's just me. So, I'm doing this as a voiceover because let me tell you, the struggle with this airbrush was real. I feel like my airbrush might be haunted because no matter what I do, I struggle. I had cleaned it previous and I tested it and it worked perfectly. But now that I have the camera going, it's paint, never heard of her. So I had to take it apart again, figure it out. I ended up taking the hopper off of it, and because I just was putting a few drops in, I still don't know why it was doing this at first, but I took it out. I ran liquid through it again. You can see me taking the hopper off now. This is why I struggle with the airbrush. I want to love my airbrush so bad, and I struggle with it so much. So I finally get it working after taking it apart, putting it back together, clearing it out. I get a little bit going. I'm like, okay, we have some paint happening. There we go. We're good. So since I was just putting a few drops in, I just said, yeah, screw it with the hopper. And I'm just putting the paint directly into the hole. And then we can finally actually start doing the design. So basically I wanted to do an ombre that starts in red and then I immediately realize I have the airbrush air turned up way too high. Forgot about that. So I have to wipe everything off just with some alcohol. It'll come right off. And then try again. I turned down the air pressure and held it a little farther away, and that did help quite a bit. As I said, I'm very much learning the airbrush. I'm not that great at it, but I feel like there's value in watching someone learn. So I've got the red on, and then I wanted it to be this nail to be mostly red, but I wanted the red to sort of blend over onto the next nail. And then I want all the colors to blend onto the nail next to it where it's the primary color, which will make more sense once we have more colors going. So I'm just adding a little bit more red because I was like, I think this needs to be a little more, present. As usual fashion, got so absorbed in what I was painting that I will sometimes go off screen. I apologize in advance. So we've got the red mostly there. And then I just wanted a little bit of red to come onto like the ring finger just at the bottom. So there's sort of like a flow to it. Not a lot, just a teeny little bit. So then between every nail, I think I'm going back in just to realize I wanted that a little brighter. I want these to be really bright rainbow nails. So between each nail, I did the other hand off screen. I need to switch out the colors. So basically what I did is I'm just running some alcohol through it as sort of like a thinner to just sort of squeeze out all that liquid. And then I will be replacing the paint with the next color. And once it's mostly running clear. And this was a very laborious process. Like the lack of intricacy of these nails is not belied by how long it took to change each color. I feel like, I don't know, like maybe I'm doing something wrong airbrush wise. Either that or my handpiece is cursed. But I do eventually switch to the orange. So then shaking it up. And then I'm going to be putting in a few drops of the orange. This was the first time I opened the orange. I don't really use orange that much in a lot of my designs, but I think it turned out really nice. It's a very like bright, sunny orange. I just got these paints on Amazon a while ago. So as you can see, it came out perfectly. There were absolutely no problems with the orange. The orange worked flawlessly. And then it went on the nail like it was the easiest thing in the world. Look at it. It's just like, yeah. I want to be painting. Like the airbrush, I was like, oh, good. The airbrush is working great. I'm definitely not going to have any more problems with it. And as per usual, when I'm doing things, these are for like famous last words. So I cleaned out the orange after doing the other hand, put in the yellow. And again, see the yellow, everything's working great. I'm thinking I got it. I finally figured this out. This airbrush, listen, I did it. I finally am airbrushing. This is a new era of Natalia to airbrush. We're putting a little bit of the yellow to sort of continue on the ombre. It's looking good. And then I did the other hand off. Look, I'm just like, yeah. I did the other hand off screen. Then I went with the green. Now, this is the point where my airbrush decided yet again, I'm going to choose a path of violence. Because everything was working great, but this green decided to give me nothing but endless woes. So I'm like, yeah, everything's working great. Got this green going. Green's still yellow coming out. So finally we're getting some green. I'm like, hell yeah. Let's go. And then for some reason, it's like it would not go on as prominently as the other colors. So I'm like, okay, I guess gotta do a couple extra coats once it dries. No big deal. But it was just like, it was struggling to come out. Ironic for a set of pride nails. I know. So then I go to add more in, and then I was like, oh, maybe I need to shake it again. And this one's on me, not on the airbrush. You'll see in a minute or so when I go back in to add more green. It's like just, it doesn't seem like it's coming out. Like nothing's really, it's not getting stronger. It has this weird speckled look. So I think to myself, oh, maybe I just need to like shake the green more, figure it out. Like it must just be like user error. But like this is the easiest thing you can do with an airbrush. Like this should be the easiest situation, but like the green it's like it's struggling to come out, right? So I'm like, oh, maybe it needs to be shaken a bit more. And then I shake it without putting my finger over the cap, and immediately I'm telling you, there was paint everywhere. But I'm soldiering on because I'm like, no, my friend who lives in Texas of all places needs a set of pride nails. Dang it. So I did eventually, after much futzing, get the green working. I needed to like clean it out like 3 more times, put new green in, And that, but we finally got like a vibrant green happening. So we're going to fill that up. And then we can finally, and the other two colors didn't give me too many problems. So I did have to change the paper towel on my desk quite often. So keep that in mind. So we got the green. I did remember to keep the cap shut before shaking it. Putting a little couple of the blue. Sorry, not the green, the blue. Putting a couple little dots in there. Like, you really don't need a lot of airbrush paint. Just a really teeny amount, especially for nails. Like, I feel like if you're doing a lot, and look how easily that came out that time. My thing is cursed. It's cursed. But anyway, you really don't need a lot of paint if you're for like nails. If you were doing like a large, like a large scale, like airbrushed piece, like, people do airbrush art, I imagine you would use quite a bit more, but for nails, you just need like 4 drops. That'll get you. So we're going to put the blue on here. And then we can move on to the final color, which, thank goodness. But so far, I think the ombre is really looking good. So we're going in with the purple, the purple pale. And I do actually really like these airbrush paints, and I'll put the link down below where I just got them on Amazon. This airbrush, I won't put a link to because I'm not convinced that it's a good one. But anyway, as you can see, the switching to purple worked perfectly. I don't know why the green decided it was angry, but here we are. And then we got the purple. And look at this fun little ombre we've got going on here. And I did the exact in reverse order on the other hand. So before I go in with with the rhinestones that I'm going to put on, I am sealing this with some matte top coat. Just so like if you need to, change any gel or anything, if you can wipe it off without wiping the airbrush paint off. So putting just sealing everything in, make sure to get all the edges nicely with this. We're going to like seal it in again at the end. So if you're wondering why I haven't done any filing around the edges, which is best practices, it's because I'm going to do that at the end. So we have these matte, lovely nails that aren't going to wipe off. And I'm going in I decided on the Born Pretty White Moonlight because I did try out one nail and just the glitter didn't work with this. So I wanted a more silky cat eye. And this one's a surprisingly good silky cat eye for the budget. So I'm covering the whole thing, and we're just going to go in with the magnet, and we're going to go around in a circle because I wanted to do sort of that chasing light in the middle, just for a fun little situation. And then you want to flash cure that while you do the rest of the nails. I'm just obsessed with magnetic polish. I put it on every set I can get away with. And then we're just going to do the same thing on every single nail. So just put a nice layer of the white cat eye. And then take your magnet and sort of bring it in circles just circle it around the nail. And it'll sort of make all the magnetic particles go to a little sort of like chasing orb, I think is what I've seen it referred to in the middle. I always feel a bit like a wizard when I'm, putting the wand over it. And then once you've got all those done, put that in for a full cure. Look how cute those are. Eee, so cute. I could have left them like that and they would have been very cute nails, but my friend did want a bunch of bling on them. So I'm going in with these like little rhinestones I have. And also the little caviar beads as a little mini accent, sort of like a subtle junk nail, I think is what I'm going for. Or like a confetti nail, I guess, because they're, very tiny little rhinestones. So I'm just putting down some rhinestone glue, the Ivy Fix gel, in the center of the nail. And then I'm just going to pick up some caviar beads, a couple little caviar beads, and a couple of little mini rhinestones, and just sort of scatter them over the nail. And I tried to sort of keep like a mix of like shapes and colors, like just sort of there's a little bit of variety. My friend loves a big, colorful nail moment. So once, I'm just sticking those on the center. This is a very easy set of nails. And I could have done this with like pat gel. But I really have been wanting to improve on my airbrushing because I get so frustrated with it. But the only way to no longer get frustrated with it is to keep doing it, unfortunately. So that is why the airbrush made a visit today. But I may try to like do more airbrush in the future, just so I can improve, So once you've got sort of the little mini rhinestones or charms or whatever you're using, a little glitter, like glitter sequins would work really well for this too. You're gonna flash cure that into place. And then I repeated the entire thing on every other nail. So this is me finishing the thumb. And yeah, here we go. We've got a nice setup here, and I'm going to fully cure them. And this is the top coat, and I started putting the top coat before remembering that I had said and decided to myself that I was going to file all the edges, which is really good practice when you're doing stuff like chrome or airbrushing or like doing stuff with powdered nails, is you want to expose some of the gel underneath at the edges. So, because gel sticks really well to gel. It doesn't stick really well to airbrush paint or, other things like that. So if you file around the edges, then wipe off the dust, it'll seal better and they'll be less likely that your nails, the color will chip. And so that is what is happening here. Just giving it a little wipe down with some alcohol to make sure there's no dust remaining around the edges. And then we're going to top coat with the Jinbei Crazy Top Standard. Since these are cheap little rhinestones, I don't really mind just sort of going right over them, encapsulating them, because like they're not, it's not going to dull the shine like it would on sort of high quality crystals. So it is totally fine by me for these ones. We're going to just top coat everything. I really like the Jinbei Crazy Top Standard, especially if you're doing stuff like confetti nails, like especially if you're using something that needs to be encapsulated. The Jinbei Crazy Top Soft works really great for, just like basic flat nails. But if you're encapsulating anything, I say go for the standard. Like it works super well and the texture is really nice and it goes on quite smoothly and it self-levels beautifully. And then once you've got everything done, my recommendation is always to flip your nails upside down for like 15 to 20 seconds, just to make sure that the gel pools away from the edges and sort of settles more towards the apex of the nail. It'll give a better look and will also make the nails hardier to wear. Very nice. Everything's looking good. And then we're going to stick that in for the final cure. And this is how the nails turned out. I think they are super cute. And I already showed her, I sent them to her. They haven't arrived yet, but I did show her a video of them and she lost it. She loved them. She was like, this is perfect for Pride. So she loved the bling. She loved the energy. So I'm glad that they turned out because that airbrush, it likes to frustrate me. But anyway, thank you for hanging out with me. I will see you next time with my birthday nails because it's my birthday coming up. But anyway, thank you for hanging out and leave me a comment. Tell me what you thought and I'll see you next time. Bye.